Good morning, second graders. We had a language test today in language, of course. And so I'm going to go over a little bit of things with you and just some review before your test. I'm going to go over some special sounds. Now, all of these special sounds are on your test, and I want you to still go over the special sounds on the paper that I sent home with you on Wednesday. So that should be with the rest of your papers. So go over those special sounds before you take your test. But we're going to go ahead and review the orange group of special sounds today. So let's go through these. We'll just quickly go through them and not take too much time. THR says thrup in 3. AR says R in stars. CH says chuck in church. OR says or in morning. OU says ow in out. OW says ow in owl. OW says O in bowl. ER says in verse. UR says in nurse. IR says in bird. OI says oi in coin. OY says oi in boy. OO says in book. OO says in tooth. WOR says were in worms. IGH says I in night. ALL says all in ball. ALK says awk in walk. That is all of them. Now don't forget to go over the special sounds on the review paper, on the study paper that I sent home for your test. So you want to know those for your test. Now, also, something to remember on your test today is when you put words in A, B, C order, look at the first letter of the word to put them in A, B, C order. So on your test, you don't even have to look at the second or the third letter because they will all be words that you can just look at the first letter of the word to figure out if it should be first, second, or third. There are 2 groups of words to put in ABC order. So don't number them 1 through 6. Only do 1 to 3 on one side and 1, 2, and 3 on the other side. Okay? Remember that a noun is a person, place, or thing. That is a Lego down there. Abbeville is a place, and there's a little person. Okay, so a noun is a person, place, or thing. Now, adjectives. An adjective can describe a noun. An adjective can tell what kind of noun, and it can tell how many nouns. There might be 3 people, or there might be a bustling town. Those are both adjectives that describe a noun. All right, now, verbs show action. So here we have all our little letters. They're walking somewhere. We don't know, not sure where they're going. Maybe they're going to school. So a verb shows action. And what describes a verb? Okay, an adverb describes a verb. Verb shows action, and an adverb tells it often ends with ly, and an adverb tells how the action is done. Okay, an adverb tells how the action is done in a verb. Okay, so those are the 4 parts of speech that y'all have been learning, and you're doing a good job at learning those. Okay, one more thing before you go take your test today is I have Mike Mulligan with me here at home, and I'm going to continue reading a little bit in this book today. So I'm actually going to repeat some of what I read yesterday because I skipped a section. And actually, yeah. So here we go. All the other steam shovels were being sold for junk, or left out in old gravel pits to rust and fall apart. Mike loved Marianne. He couldn't do that to her. He had taken such good care of her that she could still dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. At least he thought she could. But he wasn't quite sure. Everywhere they went, the new gas shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel motor shovels had all the jobs. No one wanted Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann anymore. Then one day Mike read in a newspaper that the town of Popperville was going to build a new town hall. "We are going to dig the cellar of that town hall," said Mike to Mary Ann, and off they started. They left the canals and the railroads and the highways and the airports and the big cities where no one wanted them anymore, and went away out in the country. They crawled along slowly up the hills and down the hills till they came to the little town of Popperville. Are y'all hearing the adjectives and adverbs? When they got there, they found that the selectmen were just deciding who should dig the cellar for the new town hall. Mike Mulligan spoke to Henry B. Swap, one of the selectmen. "I heard," he said, "that you are going to build a new town hall. Mary Ann and I will dig the cellar for you in just one day." "What?" said Henry B. Swap. "Dig a cellar in a day? It would take 100 men at least a week to dig the cellar for our new town hall." "Sure," said Mike, "but Mary Ann can dig as much in a day as 100 men can dig in a week," though he had never been quite sure that this was true. Then he added, "If we can't do it, you won't have to pay." Henry B. Swap thought that this would be an easy way to get part of the cellar dug for nothing. So he smiled in rather a mean way and gave the job of digging the cellar of the new town hall to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. They started in early the next morning, just as the sun was coming up. Soon a little boy came along. "Do you think you will finish by sundown?" he said to Mike Mulligan. "Sure," said Mike, "if you stay and watch us. We always work faster and better when someone is watching us." So the little boy stayed to watch. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, and the town constable came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug a little faster and a little better. This gave the little boy a good idea. He ran off and told the postman with the morning mail, the telegraph boy on his bicycle, the milkman with his cart and horse, the doctor on his way home, and the farmer and his family coming into town for the day, and they all stopped and stayed to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig a little faster and a little better. They finished the first corner neat and square, but the sun was getting higher. Clang, clang, clang! The fire department arrived. They had seen the smoke and thought there was a fire. Then the little boy said, "Why don't you stay and watch?" So the fire department of Popperville stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. When they heard the fire engine, the children in the school across the street couldn't keep their eyes on their lessons. The teacher called a long recess, and the whole school came out to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig still faster and still better. They finished the second corner, neat and square, but the sun was right up in the top of the sky. Now the girl who answers the telephone called up the next towns of Bangerville and Bopperville and Kipperville and Copperville and told them what was happening in Popperville. All the people came over to see if Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel could dig the cellar in just one day. The more people came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug. But they would have to hurry. They were only halfway through and the sun was beginning to go down. They finished the third corner, neat and square. Never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had so many people to watch them. Never had they dug so fast and so well, and never had the sun seemed to go down so fast. "Hurry, Mike Mulligan, hurry, hurry," shouted the little boy. "There's not much more time." Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and steam were so thick that the people could hardly see anything. But listen! Bang, bang, crash, slam, louder and louder, faster faster and faster. Then suddenly it was quiet. Slowly the dirt settled down, the smoke and steam cleared away, and there was the cellar, all finished. 4 corners, neat and square. 4 walls, straight down, and Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann at the bottom, and the sun was just going down behind the hill. "Hooray!" shouted the people. "Hooray for Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. They have dug the cellar in just one day." Suddenly the little boy said, "How are they going to get out?" "That's right," said Mrs. McGillicuddy to Henry B. Swap. "How is he going to get his steam shovel out?" But Henry B. Swap didn't answer, but he smiled in rather a mean way. Then everybody said, "How are they going to get out? Hi, Mike Mulligan, how are you going to get your steam shovel out?" Mike Mulligan looked around at the 4 square walls and the 4 square corners, and he said, "We've dug so fast and we've dug so well that we've quite forgotten to leave a way out." Nothing like this had ever happened to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before, and they didn't know what to do. And that's all I'm going to read today. So go take your test and do your best, and I will look forward to reading the rest of the story tomorrow.